Radio.
Great, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Shit Radio. I am co-hosting tonight with Wasted, as Brasky is off on assignment. So it's me and Wasted. It's me, Liarz, and Wasted for tonight. How are you, Wasted?
I'm fine.
Nice.
I've recovered.
There we go. It's always good. So welcome to Shit Radio, everybody, an unrefined podcast for the everyman. Hope you're along with us for the ride tonight. We got some interesting topics to talk about. Some things are making the news right now. I guess we'll start with Guns N' Roses because, well, that's our house band and we love Guns N' Roses. Check us out over on badapplesforum.com. That's the Guns N' Roses chat board for the true champions of the Guns N' Roses community. There was an article posted this week, Wasted, about Guns N' Roses and possible that they're going to be giving up touring in the near future. What did you hear about this?
I mean, it's Tom Zutaut. He's now a producer. It says on the in the story, and it seems like he's suggesting that they're nearly done with the touring side of things, which a lot of people in the community have been kind of shouting about for years, really, that they want them to stop touring. I don't know if that's like a positive, if they're coming from a positive point of view, but just that maybe it's like ruining the legacy. But I just don't think it's as bad as they say it is, in that way. But yeah, it does seem that, yeah, I mean, people still go and still enjoy it. It's a big show they put on. Axl's vocals are patchy or sometimes not as good, but yeah. But I mean,
I've often said it too, Wasted. And by the way, I've mentioned on the show, or I think I mentioned on the show, I did get tickets for my local show. I am going again to see them. So as bad as everybody says they are, and as bad as maybe they really are, I'm still going to see them. You know what I mean? So I'll be the first to criticize. I will, and I'll admit that. But it's still a good show to go to. They play for 3 hours. They play all the songs you love. They play them well. Some better than others, but I mean, what's not to like, right? And according to Tom Zutaut, who was recently on Brando's show Appetite for Distortion, and that's where they got this from. This was up by metalwanny.com, and it transcribed right from the Appetite for Distortion show. It says, now this is Zutaut talking. He says, now I don't think they, open bracket Guns N' Roses closed, will call it the last show because somebody will offer them an ungodly amount of money for them to play another show at some big event, and I'll bet you they do it. So, is Zutaut really saying anything that we didn't really know, as you alluded to, Wasted?
Not really. Only that he's maybe close. He's more of an insider. He may have heard something about their actual real plans, more than just people speculating or people just kind of feeling that it's coming. Like he might know, because he's always been on the inside. Apart from when he seems to get the most fired guy in the Guns N' Roses world. He gets fired about every 3 years, doesn't he? And then he gets back in. But yeah, it does say that because there's things like Rock in Rio, there's all these huge festivals they play that, they don't have to completely, they just have to stop the huge endless tours that are probably occurring, where they can play like festivals, can't they? They could do the festival circuit and Rock in Rio,
Let's face it. I mean, the guys are getting older, right? I mean, Axl's in his mid-60s now, if I'm correct. Slash is probably around the same age. I know I think Duff's older than the other two, right? So, I mean, these guys are getting up there in age. I don't think they necessarily want to be out on extensive tours anymore. I know Duff's got a family, so does Slash. with not young kids, but still growing children that are turning into adults now, right? So, um, it's it's imperative that Slash and Duff are there for their kid. There's priorities that are different now for these guys, and the rigors of a 2-year long tour like the Use Your Illusion, or even like the tour that's been going on. It's literally been almost 10 years now for the Not in the Lifetime, and the various incarnations of the Not in the Lifetime tour that have subsequently followed that. But you know where I'm going with that. So seeing them go to the seeing them go to the maybe the festival circuit is, I think it's a reasonable transition.
Yeah, and I mean, they haven't got anything to prove really, and then people can still go see them if they are playing a few shows, and when they do, it'll be more of like a special event, rather than here they are again. Oh, it's the same set list and complaining. It'll be like more of a special occasion. When they do actually play. I mean, some parts of the world where they go, they're still greeted as like demigods, if you know what I mean. It's more the American market where maybe people have got tired of them. I don't know, but yeah, there's definitely a physical side of it. And what else have they got to prove? What have they got to prove? They've done. People still go back to Use Your Illusion shows, don't they? The bootlegs and stuff to look at this is Guns N' Roses in their prime. Now we all know that it's almost like a convention. We're just going and everybody loves this band, and you wear your top hat and your Guns N' Roses merch, but it's just a fun time just to see how everybody loves this band.
I'm bringing my kids this time, so it's going to be the first time for them, obviously seeing them, and I'm seriously giving it some serious consideration as to dressing up as Slash to go to this show. I have a top hat and a wig. I usually do it when the kids were younger and they went for Halloween. I used to dress up as Slash for Halloween and take them out. So I have the costume already. I'm thinking about doing it for the concert. It's in the middle of August though, so it might be a little warm.
It's the last chance,
I know, I
Yeah,
know,
everything's the last chance.
I
I
know.
mean, you could do topless, and get one of
I
those
could.
metal nipple rings that he has.
I could. I don't know if I could
Commit,
pull it off as a man in,
commit.
the age I am, but, we'll see. But,
So I think,
I
yeah,
don't
this
know.
is it. Your last
Yeah,
chance to go see them. Maybe the last chance of many, but your first last chance.
it's the first last chance. It's the,
Uh,
I think, it was Axl that said they'll never do a farewell tour, right?
yeah, he's just
Something
they're a
like
little
that,
bit
right?
punk. They're a little bit self-conscious about being kind of commercial. I've always thought they're kind of like punks. They want to keep everything like a mystery and kind of authentic and rock and roll. Not go.
Rock and roll,
We're
buddy.
doing a yeah. We're not doing a farewell tour, but
That's
we are
right.
sort of. We don't want
Well,
to be. They're too cool. Too cool for
yeah,
school kind of thing.
hard school. All right. Well, moving on from Guns N' Roses tonight, that was an interesting topic. Something else that was in the news this week, and I think it's pretty big news. It's that Metallica's going to the Sphere. Now, they are doing a residency starting October 1st, concluding October 31st with, I think, 8 shows smattered in between that month there. So, uh, I mean, the last big act to play the Sphere, I think, was U2. But this is the first real like hard rock act that's going to be going in there, and I don't know. What do you think of this, Wasted? I'm pretty stoked for it.
Yeah, I mean, this maybe is the next level of way of doing things for these type of bands, even like Guns N' Roses. Something that they're more excited to doing than slogging around, on a world tour. You play these sort of bigger shows, and this allows them to. It's a different thing with all the new audio, video, visual stuff. Putting on this huge show, a bit like was it Zoo Station? or Zoo TV with U2. I think U2
Yeah,
have played the Sphere
exactly.
too,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they've always done this kind of like a big show where the sort of alien UFO is landing. Bono gets out of the UFO,
Yeah.
giant lemon, so they can
One of
play with
the
the imagery.
one of the coolest shows I ever saw. I'm not a I'm not a big U2 guy. In fact, I don't really like them at all, but I did go see the Zooropa tour, or was it the
Yeah,
Action Baby tour? The one where he was a fly, and
yeah,
it was dude, it
yeah,
was awesome. It was amazing. Like, it just visually stunning show that these guys put on, and they're obviously professionals at what they do, and they're very good showmen, and they put on a hell of a show, right? And I could only imagine what it must have been like at the Sphere with all these visuals, and what Metallica is going to bring to the Sphere with this fully immersive show, right? Because it's well, for those that don't know, the Sphere in Vegas, or Sphere in Vegas, not called the Sphere, it's just Sphere. Sphere in Vegas is it's basically a giant ball that you go and sit in, and you're surrounded by television screens. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, I mean, that's about as simplistic as I can put it.
yeah. It's almost like a IMAX. It's sort of like the IMAX here taken times 10 or something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Surrounding you. And I mean, they could do holograms now. So it'll feel like it might be feel like you're surrounded by them, like you're inside them, looking out of the band rather than just like looking at them on stage. And there'll probably be loads of like kind of video. When people start using their cameras on their phone to video stuff, you're going to get loads of cool videos on YouTube and things like that. All the yeah, and it's a big event. That's another thing, is that people like you're paying so much to go see like a live show, just an ordinary live show. If you're going to pay so much money, you want to get some experience, an experience, rather than just going to see them grind through their greatest hits once again. So I mean, and it probably raises their profile with the media, because the media don't care about like playing the Tacoma Dome in October or something. The
Exactly.
media wants something more interesting to talk about, like
They want
Vegas.
something I can
Yeah,
chew on, yeah. So
yeah,
according to this article on Forbes.com, uh, they're hosting their residency at Sphere in October this year, and their continue tradition of the no repeat weekend. Apparently, they started this on the 72 Seasons tour, where each night they're going to perform an entirely unique set with no repeated songs. So if you go to one show on, say, like Thursday, you get one set list, and if you go to the show on Saturday, you get another set list, which is pretty cool. I mean, that's
yeah,
obviously incentive to get people to try and buy more tickets, obviously, right? But I think it's pretty cool too that they're setting up shop and doing basically two shows, right? Two separate shows.
yeah. And it kind of kills that argument that I'm not going to go see them because they're going to play the same stuff again. You know,
Have,
you know what they're
have,
going to play. So,
have you ever done
you know,
that?
complained about it.
No,
Uh,
gone to a show 2 nights in a row.
no, 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 no,
I have.
definitely not.
I went to see AC/DC at the Montreal Forum 2 nights in a row on the Razor's Edge, where they played 2 shows there, and, me and a bunch of friends went the first night, and my buddy calls me the day of the second show, which is the next night, and he's like, "Hey, I got an extra ticket. Do you wanna go?" I'm like, "Sure." Dude, it's exact same show, like, exact same show it was the night before, like, from song to song, but
And
still,
did
man, it was awesome. It was so good. It was
and
just
did
awesome
did
even though I knew.
Angus? Because I saw the Razor's Edge tour as well in the NEC in Birmingham, and Angus came up on a column, kind of in the middle of the crowd,
Yes.
soloing. So he
Yes.
did the same thing. Yeah,
Yeah. Awesome.
yeah, and he always runs. He was running up and down the gantries, the slopes, soloing and
Yeah.
hopping. That's what I
Yeah.
remember. And
Yeah, and he does.
everybody around me was just head banging throughout the whole thing. And I was looking at them going, "How can you listen to? Can you hear what they're saying?"
AC/DC was a hell of a show, though. Metallica's gonna be a hell of a show at Sphere. I mean, Tickets, as of recording right now, tickets have not gone on sale yet. I will have an update on this because I have signed up for the Ticketmaster pre-sale, which is happening tomorrow. So, I mean, as of when this show gets released, obviously we'll find out just how the secondary market was for ticket sales, but it's projected to be pretty high. So even if I can't go, I'm gonna try and see if I can get a couple tickets and sell them on the resale market. I know it's kind of sleazy to do that, but hey, money's money, right? So what can I do?
Yeah, I mean, most people are going to want them. It's not
Yeah,
like they're not going to sell out. I think because they're not doing
they're
that many shows, and there's
they're doing
millions of
8 shows.
fans.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
they're doing 8 shows throughout the month. So no, they're not doing not doing too many shows, and like I was just talking about too, it's actually 4 shows. It's 2 sets of 4 shows, right? Because they're 2 different
uh,
set lists, right?
so it's really for only 4 times. Like if there's a sheik coming in from Saudi Arabia who wants to buy 2 tickets for 20 grand, you
Yeah,
know, on the weekend,
yeah,
he's just going to buy them, isn't he? It's Vegas.
absolutely, absolutely. Should be fun. I mean, I was
Yeah, I
talking to my
mean, like it's the
neighbor.
next.
Go on.
No, I was just going to say it's like the next level, isn't it? It's the experience. You get sort of more excited about it because it's not just a tour that you've seen it before. It's big, exciting tour. Even just going to Vegas is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, and especially for me as Canadians right now, Vegas is struggling, and there's many incentives for me as a Canadian to go down to Vegas right now because not a lot Canadians are dumb, most of them, and they like to. Canadians are very easily manipulated by the government and the media. Yeah, it's a topic for another day, but they really, and I'm one of them. I'm not manipulated like that. I'm smart enough to notice what's going on and not be um changed by this, but a lot of them they take it to, as gospel what's said in the media, and they just blindly follow it. It's kind of scary, and I don't know this tangent I'm going off on, so I'm going to stop it right now. But yeah, anyway, what were we talking about?
Just that it's just a big show. It's going to be a big show. It's something different, and there's you'll be able to offload those tickets, no problem. I
I
think
hope
because it's
so.
like yeah.
Sorry, go on, Wasted. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, just yeah, I was just saying you'll be able to offload them because there's only, like you said, there's four sets,
Right,
2
exactly.
shows. So
Yeah.
it's narrowed down. You're really talking about 4 shows, you know.
Yeah, so
So
we'll see. I mean, have you ever seen Metallica? I've seen Metallica a few times, and
yeah, yeah.
uh,
I saw
they're
them in Shanghai. So that
oh,
was a
nice,
different show.
very
Uh,
nice.
yeah, they came on stage to "It's a Long Way to the Top" if you want to rock and roll by
Oh, that's
AC/DC.
AC/DC. Yeah, yeah, that's
Yeah,
how they
I
came
could.
on?
No, well, I saw them. I could see from behind. I was really close to the front, but on the side, I could see behind the stage coming up in their golf carts, and I could hear the music playing. And I saw them walk up onto the stage. It was the first time they were playing in China, in Shanghai, and everybody paid to be at the real front standing area. They'd all paid like thousands of dollars. So these were rabid Metallica fans who just sang every line. And I was kind of watching the band, and I was also like watching the crowd at the same time. These Chinese guys going mental.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. Yeah, Metallica puts on a good show. A lot like Guns N' Roses, they're definitely not what they used to be. I mean, I remember seeing them in the '90s, and they were at the top of their game then. They might have lost a step or two in that time, but that's to be expected. And like I was circling back, like I was saying there, I was talking to my neighbor. He's thinking about going down too, and he was asking me about seeing them live because he's never seen them. And I said, if you're expecting to see the growly James Hetfield from 30 years ago, you're going to be disappointed. But if you go in thinking, hey, I'm watching Metallica live, it's going to be pretty fucking badass, man. If you ask me, like it's going to be a great show. Just with their visuals and their Lars pounding on the drums and James Hetfield just ripping and shredding, and I mean, it's going to be
Yeah,
amazing. So
they've got a lot of hits as well. Even I know that like it was the Death Magnetic tour that I saw, and I knew most of the songs that they were playing, and I mean, even though I don't like follow them religiously or anything, anyway, I've heard all those songs. So it's a good set, and even the new ones like Fuel, give me fuel, give me fire. That one,
Yeah.
that worked live. That worked live really well.
I bet it does. Yeah. So we pretty much talked out that subject, I think. Check out Metallica Sphere. Tickets go on sale March 6th, apparently, according to this website. Friday, that's when pre-sale is over and the general public can get their tickets. So look for this to be sold out. I think it's going to be a great show, or I think it's going to be a great series of shows. And no doubt it's going to put a lot of money in Metallica's pockets. Speaking of pockets, I don't know. Speaking of pockets,
Yep, that's a reference.
Kurt Cobain, something we talked about on the show not too long ago, Wasted. I'll let you take this one because you're the resident expert on this, but something's happening with the Kurt Cobain suicide case. It's being reopened as potentially a murder.
Yeah, so it's maybe not being reopened yet, but as of the February 2026, there's, on the day that Kurt Cobain's body was found on the 8th of April in 1994, they moved quickly to just call it, it was a suicide. The verdict was suicide. And basically everybody, the police and the media, everybody just went along with it. But, in the, last more than 20 years, maybe 30 years, fans and, in the internet, basically, internet sleuths and fans have always looked at the evidence, and just thought this doesn't really add up. It doesn't really, there's so many pieces of evidence just from the crime scene photos and the autopsy. When you just have a quick look at it, you're like, this doesn't make sense. And what basically the website, I think it's whokilledkurt.com. They've been campaigning to get and organizing to get this sort of forensic specialist, Brian Burnett, to have a look at it, and he's basically now published a peer-reviewed paper in the International Journal of Forensic Sciences. This is as of 26, and his key finding is that the paper argues that evidence, including the autopsy findings and crime scene photos, indicates the death of the homicide. So, I mean, this was just from him looking at it over 3 days. He had a look, and it should have been basically the report concludes at the end. It says that the report concludes that Cobain was likely incapacitated by a large dose of heroin before being shot, suggesting the scene was staged. Despite this, Seattle authorities have maintained the original suicide route. So I remember when the body was found, and everybody just, went to suicide. I remember there was a reporter or the police outside on the day, outside on the driveway talking to the media, saying that it was a suicide. And this was before the autopsy was even done. So, I mean, they've looked at it. And, after 3 days, this Burnett guy who's he's an expert. He's not just some random guy. This is what he does for a living, and he specializes in overdose and shotgun. Yeah, so he's an expert. And he said he got back to them and said, "This is a homicide. We've got to do something about this." I think there's probably 4 or 5 things that we've probably all heard these things before somewhere else, but not from official sources. We've just picked it up and thought this doesn't add up. I think the main thing that this report says is that the death is not consistent with a gunshot wound. It's more likely, and everything points to the fact that he died from an overdose. So his lungs were full of fluid, and he had necrosis of the brain and liver damage, and eye bleeding, and his brain had been starved of oxygen. So how, the first thing people are saying is, after he's taken like a 3 times lethal dose of heroin, how does he even hold the gun? How does he hold the gun to pull the trigger? Um, so, so this report is basically saying that he was dead before he pulled the trigger. He had to be dead because he OD'd on such a massive amount that it would have been almost instant incapacitation. So this suggests that it's a homicide. That's the main thing. And then there's also a forensic team. They also looked at the crime scene evidence, and it, as people have said, it looks staged. There's no fingerprints on the gun. Basically, dead men don't wipe down a gun. The shell was on the wrong side of the body or something, in the way that the gun was found, like positioned on his chest with the gun in his mouth, and the shell, if it would come out at all, the left hand's gripping the barrel, the shell would have gone the other direction. So it all suggested it was staged afterwards. Also, this is a part that I like, is that the blood was on the bottom of the shirt. There was blood on the bottom of the shirt, but not on the hand near the gun. Like if he blew his head off and he was holding it there, his hand should be covered in blood, but there's no blood anywhere really. So, the blood's on the bottom of the shirt, which I think he's probably sitting down, like at the bottom of a couch or something, and he ODs and maybe blood or something comes out of his mouth and lands on the bottom of his shirt. And that would suggest that the body was moved, So it's also staged in the fact that it's the needles and his heroin kit were all packed away neatly. And like you said at the beginning about the receipts, that's some of the biggest evidence, is that the receipts for the gun and the shells were stuffed in his pockets. So, you know what I mean? Basically saying he definitely bought the gun, he definitely bought the shells. Whereas we know from other people that Dylan bought the gun. Dylan is Kurt Cobain's best friend, the day before Kurt came back, and Kurt probably bought the shells. But they were all stuffed in his pocket, like it's like a movie scene. Like you're framing him for his own suicide, So yeah, the blood splatter. Yeah, so there should have been blood splattered everywhere.
How can the Seattle Police Department continue to look at this as a suicide and just refuse to not open it? I mean, I have some questions. Like you talked about earlier about his brain was showing signs of lacks of oxygen, and I mean no disrespect with what I'm about to say, and I want to phrase it as gently as I can, but did they have enough of his brain left to test? Because he blew
Yeah,
up his head, right?
yeah, but it wasn't. So it wasn't really that bad. The only sign that he'd actually shot himself, like I think they said he shot himself in the roof of the mouth.
Okay.
I didn't blow the back of his head off. There was just some blood in the ear, and the only blood was on the shirt. So
This is and they said he shot himself in the mouth with a shotgun and it didn't blow the back of his head off?
yeah, there wasn't really much blood around coming out, and
That's incredible.
yeah,
That's
well,
incredible.
sometimes the bullets get lodged, but they're really saying that he didn't shoot himself. That
Yeah. No, I get that part. Yeah, I get that.
he OD'd first. This is just from the autopsy, and then you can speculate, like, was he given a hot shot? Was he taken out by heroin, OD'd, and then he shot himself, and then he shot himself, which nobody really believes.
Which, and you know what, Wasted, to be honest, this is I guess an assumption or something that we've thought about. I remember asking that or hearing this type of evidence uh, right after he died, right? So this
Yes.
this is something that has been said since the day he died, because I remember talking about this. Somebody was like, it came out in the media or whatever that he had this lethal dose of heroin in him, and then people were like, he was so used to the heroin. His body was so used to the heroin that he was taking enough to kill 3 times a person or whatever, right? And like
Yeah.
it doesn't add up, right? And
Well,
it just doesn't add up.
yeah, but that's what the autopsy and the medical, this forensic team are saying that, and most of the experts say that this 3 times a lethal dose is not. It's not. Nobody can like not be incapacitated by it. Yeah, nobody can. It's a guaranteed death. So I mean, I can think of a situation in which he shoots himself up some, and then he's nodding out, and then somebody else shoots him up with even more, and maybe it was even an accident, even an accident. But this is going a little bit outside the scope of this forensic report. But I think it's more likely that it was an accidental overdose. But then they did stage the body. That's the most. If you're giving them the most sympathetic, the people there who were with him would have all been implicated and charged with killing him. So they were like, what are we going to do? This is going outside the scope of really this autopsy. This autopsy just says he like almost certainly died of the overdose. So he has no way of shooting him. Therefore, it's not a suicide. It should have been recorded. It should have been called a homicide, and then you'd like report. Then you'd have to open an investigation. And you were talking about the police department at the time, and for 20 years or something, even when Tom Grant was on them, he's a private investigator, did a lot of work in it. He was like harassing the police, and they always just stonewalled him. But I think recently, one of the legendary cops in the SPD, Seattle Police Department, he has come out and said the case should be opened, and even the police chief at the time of his death has also come out and said it should be reopened. But they're all retired. So the reason why it's the classic thing. When it's they don't, and nobody wants to take the blame when they've got a job, and then later they go da da da. But yeah, so and once you say that it's a homicide, then you open up all the evidence that Tom Grant was like sniffing around, and it becomes this huge thing. So yeah. So I mean, the stuff in this, a couple of just simple things like in the Soaked in Bleach documentary, about Courtney would come under the Tom Grant Soaked in Bleach kind of area. Courtney would come under a lot of suspicion because Tom Grant found in her bag, and maybe you could say it, the Rome suicide, supposed suicide attempt. Courtney had in her bag like practice sheets of her copying Kurt's handwriting.
Yeah, we talked about all that on the show previously. If but there's no need to go over that again. Like
no, I'm just mentioning this type of thing.
I mean,
and there's nothing mentioned and the letter is like in 2 parts. One looks like a retirement letter, bottom looks like something else.
Right.
So, and then simple things like no prenup. Courtney gets no money from the divorce, but if he dies while they're still married, Kurt's estate went from 50 million to 450 million on his death. And who got all that money? Courtney. Yeah. And the lawyer of both of them, Kurt has said he wants to file for divorce, and Courtney has said, hire me the best lawyer, divorce lawyer you got. So all this would be coming up to the foreground for Courtney. And the funny thing is that recently, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, she sent Candace Owens was saying this. The Candace Owens said that Courtney sent her an email saying that that Courtney knew who did it, and it was the CIA. So now she's playing into that idea that she was MK Ultra or whatever. So she's feeling the pressure, and then the whole media, YouTube. Like I was saying before the show, Ian Halperin was on Scotto Rocks, and he was telling this kind of crazy story, which is it's just a funny story to me. It's like, in the 90s, he wrote Who Killed Kurt Cobain. It's probably the first Kurt Cobain sort of book about the murder I read. I think it was the first one almost. He's done 3, I think. But anyway, Yeah,
He was one of the very, very first, if not the first, to come out with anything involving the Cobain murder slash death slash suicide.
yeah. But he was telling this story on YouTube that he went to interview the coroner, just to see what's going on in the 90s, just as maybe a year or two after the death. And he said when he went to see the coroner took him into his office, and this is the coroner who looked at Kurt's body in the autopsy, had a load of Nirvana posters, or he was a big fan of Nirvana, in his office. And he was like boasting that he'd had an affair with Courtney Love in the 90s.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
So you can read into, and there's a lot of that kind of thing around the Seattle Police Department with Courtney, knowing quite a few of them.
Right.
So that's very conspiratorial. But you don't want to go too much into this, the soaked in bleach. And there's also the next level is the actual what really happened. And Chris Todd, the private investigator, has got Joe Burns, who was there. He's like a local musician. And there's a group of kids there. And Dylan Carson and Mark Lanigan, who was dead. So those are the two people who were suggested. But that's,
So I think
without
going into the conspiracy side of it, and all respect to Mr. Halprin, him and I go way back. Let's just put it that way, way back. I was at your wedding, buddy. Going to the conspiratorial side of it, I think there's enough evidence here to maybe, try and open this case up again, because if anything, the truth needs to come out, right? And if the truth is already out, then the truth is out. But if there's more to the story, I think for everybody involved, and especially like Kurt Cobain, like if he was murdered or not, or even accidentally, like you said, like that's a very, very plausible scenario, which you described, Wasted, and I think
I think
it's probably what happened, right? I mean,
yes, it's even-handed.
I mean, anyway, but good show tonight, Wasted. Good show tonight.
Yeah, and I would just want to add one more thing, is that it would be good to get this idea out that it wasn't definitely a suicide, because there have been a lot of copycat murders around, copycats. I'm going to kill myself because, Kurt did. So cleaning that out is going to be good for the world.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. Brasky was missed tonight. We definitely missed Brasky. I hope he'll be back for the next show. But it was really cool just doing a show with me and you, Wasted. It's been a really long time since the two of us just did a show. So I had fun tonight. What about you?
Yep. I'm back from the dead. I missed one deadline.
Under the weather, yeah. But it's good to have you back, and it's good to have you back from the dead, and we'll do it again soon. And I guess I'll take us out now. And thanks for listening, everybody. It's good to be back, and look for us on YouTube. That's our main channel. Hit like and subscribe and leave a comment. We're slowly filtering through all the ones that we have right now, and we're almost done. If you're not listening to us on YouTube or watching us there, check us out on Rumble. We're over there. And of course on Spotify, and from there, wherever else you get your podcasts. And ladies and gentlemen.
We got the sector, you call. see your soul.